Kapihan sa Dipolog. Live kita nga nanuka dinhi sa atong official venue ang Camila Hotel 1 ning Dakbayan sa Dipolog. Thank you so much, Lord, for the gift of life og ingon man for the gift of friendship og company sa ato ang mga. Thank you so much, Sir. Next Sunday. Sa ato ang mga bisita nga atong gituyo pag-imbitar karong buntaga para masairan sa atong mga kaigsunan, atong mga katawhan, sa tanan nga mga nagpaminaw sa atong kapihan sa Dipolog, sa ato ang mga viewers all over the world. Kang ato ang topics karong buntaga may kalabutan sa ato ang adlaw-adlaw nga panginabuhi. Dili kita mingon nga watay labot ana kanang gisgutan dito sa Manila kay wingon ta watay labot ana kay dili na makapektar kanato. Pero muna karon atong gituyo gyud og invite ang atong mga resource persons kay para maoy mo explain nato ining niya karon nga gabaga nga mga issue sa ato ang nasud karong mga panahon na. So kini si Edith Pahintito mo inyong regular anchor and host sa Kapihan sa Dipolog magigauban usab ninyo sulod sa duha katak na public affairs program. Dayon nakita simultaneous broadcast pinaagi sa kahimanan sa Radio Mindanao Network DXDR 981 AM ug IFM 94.1 sa inyong mga radio dials. Dayon salamat kayo ngadto kang taxi lumba nga may nagdalag tingog sa kahanginan kanatong tanan. Thank you so much also ngadto kang Silbert Adriatico Dondoyano ang ato ang gadala IT director gadala sa atong social media platforms sa ato ang YouTube Twitter accounts o ingon man sa atong Facebook, no? Like mo, share sa ato ang YouTube channel sa atong Kapihan sa Dipolog, please, no? Okay, salamat kaayo. O dayon, atong tuwa sa istasyon taxi, Danny Lood. Thank you so much, Danny. Dayon, ang tuwa sa si Mr. Edgar Dagunyo ang ato ang manager. Daghan kay salamat. Atong i-roll call ang ato ang mga panelists. Karong buntaga atong gipaabot nga mo agino do hinahinay diri silang Attorney Ruben Ligorio tapos si Emmanuel Dalman Taghoy ato ang Philippine Information Agency nga manager sa Zamboanga del Norte tapos si Edgar Soronda tapos si Attorney Rosilier Matoy Barinaga di ana ang uban nato panelist ato ni acknowledge later on tapos ato sab nga kuan kanang si Julius Salaveria atong CPA panelist nga nagmonitor nato karong buntaga na ana siya nakaong-ong nga mga pangutana ngadto sa ato ang kuan kanang resource speakers, no? Kanto kang Atty Cresencio Palpagan Jr. Dayon tapos later on mo join nato si Judge Jose Lester Patay kay ni big off si Judge Kenneth Rosal do na siya appointment si Attorney Peter Copod okay na tato pero last minute na siya appointment kay importante jud kaayo. So dayon ingon pod si Attorney Palpagan nga basig mo join nato later on si Atty Orlando Salatandre. So bibo kay ato ang discussion karon, no? Mga boto sila pero in the meantime ato nang i-acknowledge ang ato ang mga panelists nga niya karong buntaga kauban na nato diri ang ato ang guest panelist gikan sa Philippine Ports Authority YF Akas. Good morning YF.
Good morning sa tanan. Happy Sunday and enjoy our segment for this Sunday. Hope you will be informed o madugangan ang ato ang learnings about sa ato ang issue sa BFA.
Okay, thank you so much, Wyatt. Unya ta magchika. Si Paul James Ocolan, good morning.
Okay, mo so
palihog na lang sa congratulate sa mga officers ninyo sa gabi sa Zamboanga del Norte United Correspondents. Sige.
Okay, good morning, no. Welcome gyapon sa itong programa Kapihan sa Dipolog, nagka din sa Hotel Camila. And then kiguban nyo ang tud alas 11 ang tagna karong nga buntaga din tukiyon ang ato ang mga issue no may kalabutan kita ng katawan bilang itong mga issue nga wa kay nato masabti no ipasabot kaban sa tuwa ang mga panelist ato ang mga host ato ang mga convertible panelist o guest no karon nga buntaga. Congratulations alang sa tanang mga officers, members and the board of directors sa Zamboanga del Norte United Correspondents na napigayan sila ang oath-taking ceremony kagabi no kauban si Attorney June Salatandre nga maoy inducting officers no kagabi. So congratulations again, welcome sa tuong programa o gidapit mo kanamo ala na sa duha katak na nga tulumanon.
Okay, thank you so much. Ako din pasalamatan no so, si Randy Kabasag no ang president sa newly elected president no inducted president sa Sambuanga del Norte United Correspondents, dayon si Michelle Bala of course, dayon silang to dito ang mga kauban dito no mga friends nato sa media no. Wala man ta nitungha sa induction pero dito ta sa journalism refresher course nila kay ang ilang guest speaker gatumang friendship nga si Beth Ladaga sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines no. So mo nang dito ta agahapon anang hapon pero pag abot sa induction busy naman kay among life ni Beth og ni si Emmanuel Dalman Tagoy nga speaker po dito sa bahin sa social media no fake news ug uban pa. So thank you so much no sa inyo ang pag-abi-abi namo agahapon dito Judge Lister Patay no nga speaker po sa Laws on Libel no. So daghang kay salamat sa taga ZNUC nga nag-abi-abi ka namo dito. Dayon ato i-acknowledge niya pa sa atong panelist pod nga si Board Member Ronilio Boyli. Okay.
Salamat dit. Congrats ni Randy Kabasag atong bagong presidente sa Zamboanga del Norte United Correspondent. O congratulations po ni
Attorney James Cyril Ruiz no.
Kay siya mo incoming pong president.
Past president incoming
Larong gabi
sa Zamboanga del Norte Press Club. Okay.
Dayon maayo ni nga pangimbitar nato ning mga bigwigs sa legal og naapod si manager nato si Jett kabayan sa probably sa Quo Warranto sa ABS-CBN o kining dilima karon sa ABS-CBN o lantaw nako kining mga abogado gipambitar to mga past president ng puday ni sa Zamboanga del Norte Press Club, so they can tackle also regarding sa pangitabo karon sa prangkisa sa ABS-CBN ug uban pa kanang BFA ug sa panadiha, although it's more on dito na sa uluhan sa ato ang nasod pero eventually ma-affected mangyapon ta.
Okay, thanks so much, Board Member Ronilio Boyli. Before we'll acknowledge ato ang mga resource speakers karong buntaga from the kapisanan ng mga broadcasters sa Pilipinas and also from the legal community, legal minds no nga atong ito pag-invite diri sa atong kapihan sa Dipolog. Ato nang pasalamatan ato mga sponsors nga may nagdala ginabuhi sa atong kapihan sa Dipolog every Sunday. Thank you so much nga to kang Vice Governor Senen Alvis Angeles, presiding officer sa Gudihang Palalawigan sa Zamboanga del Norte, nga to kang Attorney John Henrik Valicer, Municipal Mayor sa Rojas, Zamboanga del Norte, National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, sa atong friendship nga si Beth Ladaga bago lang ni gawas dire kay muli na paingon sa Iligan no. So thank you so much. Adunay cable terminal station nga nagkatindad og 52 billion pesos. Anami mutang sa Barangay Tagolo, Dapitan City ang project nila nga One Grid 2020 connecting Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Tapos daghang salamat nga to kang President Anthony Almeida, Chairman Henry C. Jr. ug kang Attorney Cynthia Alabanza ang spokesperson sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, partner nato kanunay sa kapihan sa Dipolog. Salamat kaayo and God bless your trip, Beth Ladaga. Adto kang Director Radon Cedinio, Regional Director sa Department of Agriculture sa Zamboanga City, Chanos Marketing, na maligya sa spare parts sa inyong mga sakyanan sa ubos lamang nga presyo. Anamay putang sa Quezon Avenue ning Dakbayan sa Dipolog. Matawagan sa telephone number 212-1148 si Mr. Janusio, ang owner proprietor, JJ&P Fruit Nursery and Lumberyard, na maligya sa klase-klase nga fruit seedlings sa ubos lamang nga presyo. Anamay putang sa Barangay Lingasad, lungsod sa Pulangco, Zamboanga del Norte, o ingon man na maligya sila o Cocolumber sa Dunay Branch, diha sa Barangay Galas ng Dakbayan sa Dipolog ang JJ&P Fruit Nursery and Lumberyard. Salamat nga to kang Congresswoman Glona G. Labad-Labad, Member House of Representatives sa 2nd District, Zamboanga del Norte. Ako na ining pakapin nga. Dagang salamat nga to kang Mayor Rosendo Dudoy Labad-Labad dito mi sa Sindangan ni Cortesikol ang Mindanao Communicators Network, Zamboanga del Norte Chapter. Ang amo ang Director ani organizer ang PIA, pinaagi kang Emmanuel Dalman Taghoy. Among President si Alan Bakatan, ang Provincial Director at the same time concurrent nga Assistant Regional Director sa TESDA. Tapos yours truly ang Vice President Tapos si Wyatt Acas, Board of Directors of PPA, mga composed ni siya mga information officers of the province of Zamboanga del Norte, dahil gikan sa private media ako ang Kapihan sa Dipolog. So mo na ang Mindanao Communicators Network Zamboanga del Norte Chapter. Salamat kayo sa inyong pag-abi kanamo, Mayor Rachel Ferrater sa Dalman, Mayor Eugene Caballero sa Manukan. Wa na mo madakpi si Mayor John Henry Qualicer sa Rojas o ingon si Mayor sa Siayan, no? Si Bilogampo Husikor. Ha? Hipulonga. Okay. And salamat nga to sa Petra Cement Incorporated, Engineer Gilbert Cruz, ang Managing Director sa Petra Cement Incorporated. Gahatod og dako kayong kalabuan sa segundo distrito ning Galuwigan sa Zamboanga del Norte, pinaagi sa employment taxes o nya, no? Kay hatag nung ginag taxes last Sunday, bisita na to diri ang Petra Cement Incorporated, pinaagi kang Engineer Gilbert Cruz. Daghang salamat nga to sa Shrine City Food Terminal operated by Cassava Growers Association of Dapitan City na maligya sa lamian kayo nga cassava chips, banana crackers, boneless, bangos ug uban pa. Anami himutang sa ground floor sa Dapitan City Hall. Pagitaas si Susan Impinado ang livelihood center in charge. And of course, thank you so much nga to kang Attorney Roger Velasco Asper, City Councilor sa Dakbayan sa Dipolog, nga to kang Mayor Evan Hope Buyet Olvi sa Pulangco, Zamboanga del Norte, Vice Mayor Alfredo Baitit, Presiding Officer sa Guniang Bayan, Pulangco, Zamboanga del Norte, all the way from Oma County, Northern Ireland. Daghang salamat nga to kang Roger William King o Jennifer Agustin King atong BFF. Tapos daghang salamat sa, of course, sa hotel management and staff sa Hotel Camila 1, pinaagi kang Manager Gold Fabriga o mga staff niini si Mark Chong, si Claudine Giluhano, Joey Buhisan. Salamat sa imong mainit nga kape, Joey, o sa Cha Cheska Necesario, Melissa Lihino, ang Hilito Magsayo, si Joselme Ponte o si Zoriel Tilibangco. And happy viewing to James and Jaime and Vicky Caballero, James and Sabanta Caballero, all the way from Ontario, Canada. And shout out to Lady Aretha Pahinti Tumong sa Toronto, Ontario, Canada, o King RD Pahinti Tumong o iyang asawa nga si Jennifer Andes Tumong sa Doha, Qatar. We love you and God bless you all. Mo katoy nagdalag kinabuhi sa tong Kapihan sa Dipolog matag Domingo nga tanan. Doon na pay pakapin kadyot lang. Maligya sa kog kadyot. Residential lot for sale situated at Upper Turno, National Highway, Dipolog City, containing an area of 5,532 square meters. Pangitaas si Maricar Acas Castelo. Na mahimutang sa siya nagtrabaho sa Guniang Palalawigan Secretariat, no? Direct buyers only, matod pa niya. Okay, so daghang salamat ato i-acknowledge at this time ang pag-iabot. Unahon na to pag-acknowledge diri ang ato ang chairman sa kapisanan ng mga broadcasters sa Pilipinas, Zamboanga del Norte, none other than the manager of DXAA FM, no? Diha sa Andres Bonifacio Compound, si Mr. Jett Opilac. Good morning, sir, and welcome to Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Good morning din sa lahat. Good morning sa viewers and sa listeners.
Okay, thank you so much. Bugnaw kayo siya ng tingog, no? Okay. Unsa kainit sa kapiyog sa tiya, bugnaw kayong tingog ni Jett. Okay, and of course, ato yun din niya siyang kalipay nga, nisanong siya sa atong imbitasyon. Kay balata nga busy kay ang life ni ini, no? All the way from Cebu, Manila, uguban pa. In fact, no, we are happy to say, and we are kanang murag na kuan ato ang kasing-kasing, no? Na move ta. Kay, ang iyang gyari diri pa uli sa Dipolog karon panahon na ang kanang Kapihan sa Dipolog radyod. May ang giari, gikan pagintaw ni siya sa eroplano. So dari lang ni siya para sa atong Kapihan sa Dipolog para mo pasabot sa atong katawhan. Unsa kining visiting forces agreement, unsa kining Quo Warranto, unsa kini ang gag order, no? Nga mao kini top tune sa ato ang nasud karon sa Pilipinas. So, gusto nato mahibawaan kita, ilabi na sa ato ang mga local listeners, atong mga viewers all over the world, ngano og maapektahan ba kita niini nang hitabo karon nga mga issues sa atong nasod. So, without much ado, akong i-acknowledge ang paghiabot diri sa ato ang past president ni Zamboanga del Norte Press Club, atong friendship ni since time, ang ato ang higala, atong resource speaker Karbutaga, Atty Cresencio Palpagan Jr. Good morning, sir, and welcome back to Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Good morning og salamat Dit. Salamat usab og mga warm greetings sa atong panelist, si akong brad sa JCS, Boy Lee, si Wyatt from the PPA, si Paul o most importantly dire ang atong guest food manager sa DXAA, si Jeff, atong presidente sa KBP sa Zamboanga del Norte. Ug sa atong mga listeners, daghang salamat sa inyong pagsunod sa atong programa. Maayong buntag.
Okay, good morning. Ato unang ipa-explain, ipasabot nato sa ato ang resource speaker, ha? Manam na siya, good. Wa man ko ka naminaw. Ato ang resource speaker, no? Kay una po man siya nabot while waiting for the others, si Atty Cresencio Palpagan. Sir, una ta maghisgot unsa may gusto nato gahisgutan? Visiting Forces Agreement. Okay, una ta sa Visiting Forces Agreement. Ipasabot ni Atty Cresencio Palpagan unsa ang Visiting Forces Agreement, alkansi ba kuno ang Pilipinas nga gi-abrogate, gipawala, gipakuan ni President Digong Duterte kini niyang treaty between the Philippines and the United States of America nga naghatag og mga military trainings og uban pa nga funding og uban pa nga mga aids, no? Dili aids nga kuan ha, edad kundi AIDS, mga hinabang ngadto sa atong nasod sa nga Pilipinas tungod kay ato ning long time nga alay ang United States of America. Why all the fuss? Ngano nangagubot man ilabi na sa mga politika, sa politika o sa mga ekonomista o uban pa, ngano nangagubot bahin ning Visiting Forces Agreement? Atty Cresencio Palpagan, please.
Salamat, Ded. Siguro unahon na to gisgot ang historical background nganong niabot ta aning Visiting Forces Agreement and what are the underlying international agreements on mutual defense and cooperation between the U.S. and the Philippines. So we start from the vintage of the Second World War, something like 1940s, 1944. Now, in 1947, after the war, the Philippines and the U.S. crafted and approved the so-called MBA, Military Bases Agreement. That was way back in the year 1947. But the MBA was dissolved in 1992 when it was finally ratified by the Philippine Senate to withdraw to withdraw from the agreement. Now, unsa ning MBA? Is it an agreement or is it a treaty? First, before we discuss that, because daghang legal implication, and it is necessary to determine whether an agreement is a treaty or otherwise. Now, we have such a thing as international agreements. Now, international agreement is a generic term. It embraces treaties and it embraces executive agreements. Now, as to binding effect, whether it is a treaty or it is an executive agreement, they are the same. The Philippines is always bound in the same manner, whether it is treaty or it is an executive agreement. But what is the difference then? The difference is the manner of execution and the manner of having it operative. In the case of treaty, it has to be concurred by the legislative branch. It has to be concurred by the legislative branch because it is authorized under our Constitution that there shall be no treaty without the concurrence or consent of, in our case, karon, Congress of the Philippines is composed by the Senate and the House of Representatives voting separately. So, it has to be concurred. In other words, even if it is entered into by the President or the Prime Minister for that matter, if it is not concurred by the Senate, it is not deemed ratified by one party. In like manner, there is a reciprocal obligation on the other party to have it entered into by the Chief Executive and concurred by their legislative body. A treaty can be bilateral or a treaty may be multilateral, involving different or more than two states or international subjects. So in the case of the MBA, it was ratified by the Philippine Senate. It was also ratified by the American Congress, the Philippine Congress, the Philippine Senate. So it is a treaty. Now, what is an international or executive agreement? It is an agreement which is entered into by an executive, chief executive, or his representative without the need for the concurrence of Congress or Senate. So, binding effect the same, but in the manner of its constitution, it does not require concurrence by the legislative branch. So what does it mean? Simply, a treaty cannot be abrogated by just a simple expedient termination by the chief executive. It requires consent and concurrence by the legislative in its abrogation. However, an executive agreement can be abrogated even by the act of the chief executive alone without the concurrence of the Senate or the legislative, because in the manner of its birth, it was entered into by the chief executive without the concurrence of the legislative. Therefore, its death and abrogation only requires the termination by the chief executive without necessarily the concurrence of the Senate or the legislative.
Okay, sir, break ka dyan ha, mga na ta, para sa malamdagan ta. Ang Visiting Forces Agreement, is it a treaty or not? And then, if it is a treaty, it was passed and approved by the Senate and the House of Representatives, the Congress for that matter. So it was also approved finally by the President. Karon gi-abrogate sa ni President Digong Duterte ang VFA. Does it mean to say nga wala na yung role ang Congress and ang Senate for that matter nga mo pirma ana para mawala ang effectivity sa VFA kay giuna man ni President Digong. Okay. Wa naman siya ni refer sa Senate nga in the first place dito managikan sa legislative branch of government.
Okay, let me
ay di ba co-equal ang ato ang kwan sa branches of government tulo? Okay.
Okay, let me finish the historical account. Now, after the MBA of 1947, there was MDT,
Okay.
Mutual Defense Treaty. And that Mutual Defense Treaty was made operational, signed in Washington, D.C. on August 30, 1951. MDT, as the name implies, it is a treaty.
Yeah, Mutual Defense
It was
Treaty.
entered into by the executive branch and concurred by both the Senate or legislative branches of both the Philippines and the U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty. In essence, Mutual Defense Treaty states that any attack against one of the treaty signers, U.S. or Philippines, is an attack to both of them. And therefore, they are obligated to defend individually or collectively, side by side, any attack against any of the territories of the parties, the U.S. or the Philippines. In the Philippines, it was made to apply in a broader sense. It is an attack in the Philippines and in the Asia-Pacific region. So, that is the MDT. It is a treaty. Therefore, according to my research, it is to be constituted upon the agreement of the chief executive of both countries and shall be concurred and consented to by the respective legislative branches of the government. Now, the MDT is now the point of issue. To implement the details in a treaty, this is now something conceptual. To implement the details in the treaty, not necessarily abrogating or substituting or modifying, implementing the details. Because a treaty is like a constitution. It is a framework. Everything is just generic. Not vague, but it's general. To implement it, you need some kind of specific or enabling legislation.
Okay.
All right. And this enabling legislation of a treaty will come in a form of an executive agreement which does not require legislative concurrence because it is only an implementation of a treaty that has been previously concurred by the legislative department. I think that's clear. That's the rationale of the law. So, here comes in 1998, BFA. And in 2014, the EDCA, BFA Visiting Forces Agreement, the EDCA is Enhanced Defense and Cooperation Agreement. EDCA and BFA are species of executive agreements that do not require legislative concurrence because they are simply implementing certain provisions of a treaty, which in this instance, the MDT. I think that is clear. So, Edith, if you have some questions before I go forward.
Bali, sir,
please.
in a layman's term, ang Mutual Defense Treaty mo na siya ginikanan. No? Then mga anak na siya kanang Visiting Forces Agreement and the EDCA. So it doesn't need the concurrence of both the lower house and the upper house is because dito na sa gigikanan daan sa treaty, Mutual Defense Treaty, concord na daan sa Philippine Senate o sa House of Representatives. Therefore, ang BFA kay anak raman sa Mutual Defense Treaty o ang EDCA mao nang nadili na kinahanglan o concurrence sa Senate and Congress. Am I right?
Yes, that is the legal principle. It's just like, by analogy, like this. The Constitution provides powers for local governments. And in order to give meaning to that mandate in the Constitution, Republic Act 7160 was enacted by Congress. Okay? Otherwise known as the
Local Government
Code.
Of the
And
Philippines.
that local government code is the very source of the powers of the sangguniang panlalawigan, sangguniang panglungsod, sangguniang bayan, and sangguniang barangay.
Yes.
In other words, the mother law is the LGC, Local Government Code. And the details are supplanted by the local sanggunians because they can legislate on matters that are only peculiar to the respective jurisdictions. That is the essence of the law. Okay, so go back. MDT is the mother. It is the treaty. And the BFA and the EDCA are the offsprings because they are merely executive agreements. Okay, let me acknowledge the arrival of my good friend here, Lawyer Orlando Salatandre. Okay, now I will continue with the previous question. Having said that, then the question is whether or not the abrogation of the BFA by the President requires for its effectivity concurrence by the Senate. My answer based on that legal principle is an absolute no. That is why the Senate is proposing, or I think they have filed, or they are still proposing. They are proposing to file a petition with the Supreme Court asking the opinion of the highest court whether the abrogation made by Duterte on the BFA still requires Senate concurrence. So if the Supreme Court says yes, it requires Senate concurrence, then the ball will go to the Senate. If the Supreme Court says no, because it's only an executive agreement, then it's the end of it. Now, why is it that the Senate, despite the legal principle involved, is intending to file that petition with the Supreme Court? It's because when the BFA was entered into by the Republic of the Philippines in 2018 under President Aquino, the BFA was concurred by the Legislative Department of the Republic of the Philippines. Although it was not concurred by the American counterpart because according to the American experts, that is simply an executive
Prerogative.
agreement. Okay, so I think I answered that question then.
Okay, thank you so much, no? Before ta mo proceed, no, kay murag kuan kayo ni ato ang pag-discuss karon, no, murag ato yung gipa-simplify ni Atty Cresencio Palpagan, na po another top-notch lawyer nga ato ang bisita karon buntaga, dayon bisita naman ni nato ag sadiha, no? So, muna ato i-acknowledge, no, ang paghiabot diri ni Atty Orlando Salatandre Jr. Dinhi sa atong Kapihan sa Dipolog. Welcome back, sir, and sa Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Okay, salamat. May buntag, kanatong tanan, sa tanan na ITV. All over the province. YouTube. Okay, sus, kuwang nagrita. Partner. Ako ning Dad Mason, si Boy Lee, then barkada pa yun. Dugay na kayo. Niya, siya may dili magpolitiko. Sige na mo kumbinsi sa una, di magpolitiko. Paglarga na ko, pagbalik, unsa naman eh, nabali man eh.
Board member ko kag sa una.
Sa una, board. Si Atty Palpagan, man ako ang boss. Kaya gini, karang, kali siya, bantagin mo ani kay metikuloso gini kay siya. Ako dili pa.
Kanhi konsyal ko po ni sa
Konsyal God. Okay.
Ug sa
Ato
dapitan.
ta sa DFA.
Yes. Okay, sir, your take on the
Sakto
matter.
to, tong iya nga, ang express provision, wala magyoy, itong tanaw, no, magyoy provision that requires concurrence sa abrogation. Sad to say, anyway, nangagi naman to, nagkulang po ang legislative body noon sa una. Dapat, kung magbuhat ng balaod, no, objective lang niya, kinsa maganito, magbuhat ng balaod ka ng replete with details and intentions. Oo, wala nang no room, leaving no room for interpretation, if possible. Just like this one. Sa pag-enter, may concurrence. Pero abrogation, of course, expressly, wala. Now, gusto din na ito nga naa para the abrogation would not be arbitrary. Pero wala na sa balaod. Karon, we need to seek for opinion from the Supreme Court. It might be fait accompli. Dahil nga, the BEP is now abrogated. Meaning, the cart is already ahead of the horse. Okay, abrogated naman. And mga reactive ang nahitabo. No? Joke lang ba? Musa gani, gusto na mo mag-congressman sa una. Para unta. Napirang-arang. Atty Palpagan, may congressman distrikto. Ako mo, di ba? Istorya naman eh. Wala na eh. Guwang naman ta. Dito, distrikto. Dayon, ako may district 1. Istorya naman lang ni. Inana siya. Kay kini skill magini sa legislative. Work skill ni siya. Dayon imo pong perception. It could have been easily anticipated. No, these things happening now, where they that prudent or careful during their time. Nagkaroon na squabble ni noon. Kay ana pa ta mga yung opinion nga ang sakit ni buto na. Okay? Then marami dagang implications ang abrogation. Siguro na-discuss na ni partner ni Chris kay tanawa ra gud daghan mo na kayong aid na abot sa tuwa. Di mo kay ko ibaluan ang specific. Pero daghan na din basig mo trigger po ni sa abrogation sa ubang
Kada mga
ubang nga mga agreements. Pasig maapektuhan pa. Simba ko lang kanang sa ubang lugar biya. Kanang economic embargo and others.
Sa Iran, sa Syria.
Munang kini sa higher ups naman nana sa ila masaw na pag-consider. Pero sakto to, doon na po ito write up sa newspaper na this should have been, murag former DFA Secretary
and mga United
Del Rosario.
Nations representative.
Si Del Rosario.
Oo, mga inana, doon na sila comments nga it should have been, or this must be properly studied. Anyway, doon na pa may time na to reconsider the position. Ang ilang murag appeal na dapat muraog ang interest, no, the interest of the people should be the paramount consideration. Kaysa mapasagdan basin nagmapiktuhan ang tanan,
Mao.
na lisod kayo.
Yeah, because somewhere we have read, and based on the pronouncements of President Digong before, tungod manigod sa pag-cancel sa US visa ni Senator Bato. Okay, mo comment si Atty Cresencio Palpagan.
Dili na det, alibay ra na. It's very flimsy. Very flimsy. But in that cancellation, if you are a keen observer, you can now determine if there is mutuality between the Filipinos and the Americans. Even ordinary Americans can come to our country. Passport lang. But our senator cannot even be getting easy to go to the U.S. If our senator cannot go to the U.S. that easy, how much more for the honorary Filipinos? Well, it's up to you to conclude. Now, for me, my position in the BFA scrapping, if I were Digong, my first item in my agenda, the moment I am sworn to office, is to cancel the BFA. It's even too late for me. Cancellation of the BFA does not mean the cancellation of the MDT. It does not mean the cancellation of the EDCA. People are confusing EDCA from BFA. Now, it's high time to tell people that BFA is a different animal from the EDCA. The EDCA is more substantive. The BFA is something flimsy. EDCA carries with it the military aid, military infrastructure, buildings, facilities, and everything in about 5 locations in the country. EDCA is just a pseudo person of the military bases of the U.S. in 1947. There are 5 EDCA locations. In other words, these are military camps. These are airport facilities throughout the country. So it is EDCA. It's not BFA. Why I said that I have to abolish the BFA the first time I take Malacanang, if I were the president. Why? Because my intention is only to renegotiate the BFAs, not to scrap BFA altogether. For all you know, President Duterte and Malacanang are considering scrapping the BFA for a better terms in a renegotiation. Because our regime, our government, is not closing avenues for any renegotiation of the BFA. Why I said it has to be renegotiated? This is very important. I tell you, in the conclusion, by the BFA, we are second-class citizens in our country.
Why?
Believe it or not, I will explain. The most important thing in the BFA is jurisdiction on criminal prosecution. All the rest are just blah, blah, blah.
Oh, sa US servicemen ng mga
The rest
kaso.
is non-payment of damages in case of etc. But U.S. will also consider it according to agreements, non-payment of import duties for materials from the U.S. and then taxes, duties, and the rest they are just flowers around. But the meat and substance of the BFA is really jurisdiction over the person of an American serviceman who is accused of a crime in the Philippines. Have you recalled the Subic Bay rape case? Have you recalled the killing of Laude under the hands of the Navy? So what happened in that rape case? Of course, he was prosecuted, but he was not arrested according to our laws. Because it is in the BFA that the U.S. retains jurisdiction over their servicemen, even if they commit crimes in the Philippines. And so, that accused guy
was detained at the U.S. Embassy. Now, what is the U.S. Embassy? It is an extension of American sovereignty in our Philippine soil. And so, it is for all intents and purposes, he is with America, though he committed crime in the country. If you are charged, are you not sent to prison? Is there retention or division of jurisdiction? No way. You will go straight to prison unless you put up a ban and then the case is bailable. What happens if that is the case, that there is a retention of jurisdiction of the person of the accused in the Philippines on American servicemen? What happens? If he is convicted by our Philippine courts, then how will you enforce when that person is under American custody? How will you enforce? So, if you share my view, then that is my conclusion. But that is only my observation. I wish to renegotiate that because that is something for me legally lopsided. Okay, any question? I know that there are so many questions from there.
Board Member Lee.
Mutingong nindo ang abogado matulala man ta.
Lagi. Dili, maikay ba ang explanation ba? Makasabot kita in layman's term ba?
Mais tagamay. Tumisulti ni Atty Cres na it could be the Philippines is seeking for another better options.
I-renegotiate bali.
Naganing mo po Trump na, sige, bahala na mo na, undangon.
We can save
Kung sa
money.
dula pa
Ano
sa
siya?
poker, nag-bluffing ning duha ka countries. Doon ay possibility nga nag-bluff na sila. Kung sa dula pa sa poker, no? Kung sa tungit pa, pa-draw sila. Nana?
Okay.
Pero ang kuanggodan
May
eh,
time, di ba? Pila to gani?
180 days. Na question
Okay,
dali.
pero-
Kadjat lang, na question dali. Legalities of the abrogation of VFA is kato 180 days, di ba? Dayon to do RP and people still see it beneficial to our interest. MDT EDCA review necessary.
Well, for me, I think the BFA, in the making of the BFA, there was an excess in the making of the law. It should not have been that way. Because when I read EDCA, the MDT, that's fair. EDCA is fair. MDT is fair. Because EDCA does not authorize the installation of military bases in the Philippines. Wala. Ang EDCA is just authorizing the transition and rotation of American servicemen in the Philippines. That's good. That's good. That will already supplant, that will already explain and give muscles and teeth to the MDT. I subscribe to that. But BFA, murag na sobrahan rasad. Murag na sobrahan rasad. What if a foreign serviceman commits a case involving drugs?
Sila ra po gipubuda ko, dito ra po nila prisuhon sa US Embassy kuno hay.
Well, just
Pero
continue
dili na
with
ko-
your
yes,
continue
okay.
with your suppositions.
Okay, say. Yeah, use your mic please.
EDCA is still subsisting.
Oh, wala man.
Since 1914 until the present is subsisting. MDT is subsisting until the present, and MDT is now being run. The wheels are being supplanted by EDCA. Well, we are Filipinos are happy for that, but to give immunity from suit, because that is immunity from suit, retention of jurisdiction. To give immunity from suit to other people, not even a Filipino is immune from that suit, without any classification of what crime is being committed, that is different already. It spells a difference. It determines a class already for me. And it has to be renegotiated. That's why I said, if we want to be fair globally, we want to be fair, Filipinos, we are the same, we are born equal, we are equal according to U.S. presidents in a democracy, then we change that. My first office will be to abrogate the BFA, if only to renegotiate the terms thereof, to be fair and reasonable to all.
Okay, thank you so much. Attorney Salatandre, your
Okay.
take on the matter.
Okay, in line with what Chris said, para nako kuani munang lessons learned. Careful kita in entering into agreement. Dili jud pwede nga basta-basta. So, ang representatives dato kinanglan mo study yung sakto. Gani, when we have already the draft in any agreement, we have to consult our constituents. Para appropriate good, beneficial to us. Kaya once an agreement is signed, it becomes the law of the parties. Delikado in any agreement, especially this one. Because this BFA involves two countries, US and Philippines. So I don't know with those representatives during the time. I think this was signed, partner, mga 20 years?
Which one?
Kining BFA?
1998.
Oh, 22. O see, more or less. So kung sino man ang representative
lahing panagaling ko na
dito,
itong panahon na.
ito mga nagsauna. Now kay these things are there, they are existing, so remedy na lang ang sa ato, cure of what we have now. Pero lessons learned, national or provincial level, careful yun in entering into agreement. Kanang gidiscuss ni Atty Chris, sakto na about jurisdiction sa suspect or accused American serviceman or anybody. Now, nakita unta to, no? Sa una pa. Gani lang kay ambot og unsa koy nahitabo. Ana, now then review. Wa pa mo nang ingon lagi nang utana ko og pila ka period, pila ka days, 180. So pwede pa. No, reconsider. Ang importante ang best interest of our people.
Okay. Na text message coming from our colleague sa media, no? Akong basahon ni. Ingon siya, duha man ni, ang una, ang Pilipinas maoy pinakakaraan nga aliado sa US. Apan kita ray gilisod-lisod pinaagi sa visa aron makasulod sa US. Kanang ubang nasud nga atong silingan bag-o ra nahimong alay apan di na kinahanglan og visa mosulod sa US. Comment. Attorney Chris and Attorney Salatandre.
That is an internal policy of the U.S. and we cannot question it. That is an exercise of their own sovereignty and jurisdiction. So we cannot say that that is not good, that is not bad, because we have also a principle of reciprocity.
Correct.
If they are good to us, then we can be good to them. If they are not good to us, then we cannot also be good to them.
Symbiotic
That is
relationship.
reciprocity, and that is enshrined in our Constitution. Like, for instance, a professional in the Philippines, like a lawyer, Atty Orlando Salatandre. If he is allowed to practice law
in the
in the US, then we can allow American lawyers to practice law in
here,
the country. So that
that's
is
true.
reciprocity. That's why I seem not to comment on the matter of granting of visa. But that is the situation. We just leave it to our listening public to conclude. Okay.
Okay, comment, Attorney Salatandre. Dara, microphone mo.
Hello. Okay. Reciprocity. Pero again, these things should have been considered also during the negotiation 22 years ago. Kanang about visa, siguro pag Pilipino, medyo i-relax gamay, kay known to be of probity and integrity, like that. Resato. I think, I'm not sure, wama ko sa diplomatic field, but I think that can be part of the arrangement. No? That should have been done before, 22 years ago. So, karon today and onward, at least may lessons learned.
Yeah. Okay. Another question coming from the colleague na to sa media, no? Before sa Quo Warranto Tauban ani. Pagsulod na to og treaty, agreement sa US, mas daghang higayon nga nadalahig kita sa international policy sa US. Dayon, insya, nadalahig kita sa interventionist policy sa US, naganoy kita sa ilang gubat versus countries around Asia and the world. Comment, Attorney Chris and Attorney Salatandre.
Yes, that's true. So true. Because a treaty is entered into precisely to change the policy of a country. Okay. Now, the U.S. government offers an agreement with us. And that agreement that we are going to enter into will somehow change our course of things, our governance, our economic, and all other considerations. It will change some of our policies. whether internal or international policy. In that sense, it has to be a treaty. That's why it requires concurrence, because it changes the policy. So when we entered into the treaty, we were already aware that our policy directions will be changed, and it will be with the U.S. already because of the treaty. And that is the reason why it's a treaty, because it has to change our policy. So we won't regret why are these things happening to us, because first and foremost, we have entered into a treaty. Okay? So my answer is yes.
Okay, before tamo break, no, ato ipangong ang pangutana bahin sa Quo Warranto, and it follows dayon sa gag order, kay naay mga pangutana dinhi bahin pod sa gag order referring to the media, no? So, dapat ipapasyaw kay T3 ang atong nasud sa US mao sa mga gubat interventionist batok mga nasud naangin ta sa ekonomiya. How come kusog ilang pagpanghilabot sa economic policies bisan internally? I think we should reconsider our relationship with the US. We should promote our own interest and rediscover our identity as a nation. Maputoy ang. Okay. Atong ipangong ang pangutana bahin sa Quo Warranto, unsay og sa kuan pa na unsay labot nato aning Quo Warranto. Ngano at mapiktahan day kita as ordinary citizen of this country aning ilang gipahinganlan nga Quo Warranto. And what is Quo Warranto? Unsa guna siya makaon? Okay, kay kita labi na ang mga ordinaryo ng mga Pilipino, we are particular of our 3 meals a day. Di ta manghilabot ana unsa nang Quo Warranto, unsa ko nang gag order sa labot na mo ana, wa mi labot ana, no? So bali, ako basahon ang mga questions to be answered after the commercial break sa ato mga resource speakers. The questions bahin sa katong Quo Warranto murag kuan kay no nitty-gritty ang mga details ana dito na si Atty Cresencio Palpagan kay siya may CPA lawyer na better can explain it kay mo po na kay corporate lawyer man ni siya. So manang siya mga itong gihimog yung resource speaker ani kay siya may galabad-labad og ulo kita wata kasabot. Okay, so sa atong gag order atong pangutana mo ni gikan ni Julius Salaveria to ang CPA panelist on gag order inside aside from courts, can a head of a department impose a gag order on offices, units, individuals under it, like PNP, which according to recent news has summoned Espinido, kay nagpa-preskon, gipa-shut up siya ni Senator Bato. That is question number 1 sa gag order. Question number 2, isn't gag order a suppression of freedom of speech? What really is its rationale? Can justices, judges be influenced by kiyaw-kiyaw, sensationalized media labing? Question number 3. Is KBP included in your mandate the disciplining of broadcasters who go overboard? What is the process that is addressed to you, Jett, Opilac, as KBP chairman? And another, kung naay magtagaw-taw nga dili mao, then dili pod siya member sa KBP. Who and how will the regulation be? Naay body locally like in UJP or other media organization sa mga writers, bloggers kay social media man ta. What is the role of NTC on regulation on media ethics? Okay. That and more, tubago na ninyo, iniguman sa ato ang commercial break. So, ato i-acknowledge ang pag-iabot ni Edgar Soronda. Ako na lang, karo madali ta. Ako na lang, ako may nakakuan sa commercial break. Okay. Lagi, gag order si Edgar, lito na. Vice Governor Sinen Olvis Angeles, Presiding Officer Sangguniang Palalawigan sa Buaga del Norte, gig-gag order ko nun ako si Edgar. Ingon si Atty Chris. Atty John Hendrik Malisar, Municipal Mayor sa Buaga del Norte, National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, pinagi kang Beth Ladaga, ang 52 billion pesos worth cable terminal station na sa Barangay Tagulo, Dapitan City, One Grid 2020 Connecting Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Mao na ang proyekto nato sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines. Thank you so much, Director Rad Don Sidinio, Regional Director, Department of Agriculture, Zamboanga City. DA9. Janus Marketing, anam himutang sa Quezon Avenue, Dakbayan sa Dipolog, pinagi kang Janus Yu, ang owner proprietor, matawagan sa telephone number 2121148, mga sponsorship na to. JJ&P Fruit Nursery and Lumberyard sa Barangay Lingasad, Pulanco, Zamboanga del Norte, ando na branch sa JP&P Lumberyard, ane sa Barangay Galas ng Dakbayan sa Dipolog. Congresswoman Glona G. Labad-Labad, Member House of Representatives, 2nd District, Zamboanga del Norte. Petra Cement Incorporated, pinagi ka Engineer Gilbert Cruz sa Lower Rasan Roa, Zamboanga del Norte. Shrine City Food Terminal, operated by Casaba Growers Association of Dapitan City. Pinagi kang Susan Impinado, ang Livelihood Center in charge, na maligya sa klase-klase yung mga farm products, ubos lang mga represyo, lamihan kayo. Attorney Roger Velasco Asper, City Councilor, Dakbayan sa Dipolog. Mayor Evan Hope Boyet Alvis, sa lungsod sa Pulanco, Zamboanga del Norte. Vice Mayor Alfredo Baitit, Presiding Officer sa Gudiang Bayan, Pulanco, Zamboanga del Norte. Roger William King o Jennifer Agustin sa Uma County, Northern Ireland. Hotel Camila 1 and staff. Then, of course, kang Engineer Roland Soliva, ang President sa Dipolog Chamber of Commerce and Industry. O siya mo chairman sa ato ang Provincial Advisory Council sa Zamboanga del Norte Police Provincial Office, si Engineer Roland Soliva. Among kauban ni sa Advisory Council si Atty Cresencio Palpagan Jr. Ang good morning ato sa iyang maanyag na asawa nga si Ma'am Cecil Soliva. And shout out to Lady Areta Pahintitumong sa Toronto, Ontario, Canada. King RD Pahintitumong, Jennifer Andes Tumong sa Doha, Qatar. We love you. And balik sa atong discussion karon, gabaga nga discussion sa atong kapihan sa Dipolog karong butaga. Before ta mo proceed sa pagtubag sa mga daghan kayong tubagawnon ni Atty Cresencio Palpagan, ato nang mga parting words and statements kay muna maghawa si Atty Salatandre. Okay.
Labi na kay nakitaan ako si partner Chris nga naka-study siya kumayo ng Quo Warranto Gag Order.
Lupig kag research.
Sakto na.
Next time.
And ani, muna lang ko kay na-meeting po doon ang mga musicians sa Zamboanga del Norte. Wala kay music man. we sing a different song than the politicians. Okay. Then ayog serious to ako istorya gani ha. Joke lang to nga og si Chris boy umaabot pa. Pananglitan ba? Pananglitan ako pod og pananglitan na pod. Ha? Kumbate gyud sa dili sa Malaysia mi. Sa Malaysia mi managan. Walay kontra. Okay. Kay kami ako ibulo man amigo mong kimi ani. Grabe po ni siya gyud og kanang skill, arguments, trial na then ako po taas-taas na po na. Agi po ni sa provincial board sa city council. Kiniman mo yung mga rules, kinatong i-discuss karon. Actually, laws, agreements, muna trabaho sa mga lawmakers. If you fail really to exercise prudence and care, then the effects will linger as we pursue our future. Muna problema.
Mga abogado na po yung magkaaway-away.
Ha? Di man. Actually, tanawa ko.
Interpretation sa balaod.
Dili, actually, doon na yung mga pressures pressures sa mga representatives. Kinanglan, you check the one you are marrying. It's not only the jewelries in his hands, but the purity of his heart.
Oh, poetic kay siya ba? Doon ako ani ba?
So kana siya.
Kanta na day ka bidjis.
Ha? Muna i-check ninyo ang record, unta gina siya. Pero sad to say, quote-unquote, murag, kung ano man yun, ang issue karon wala naman security. Ibalo na mo og unsa. No? So good luck sa atong program. Kapihan, dugay na kaini.
Yeah.
Then nang-imbitar kayo po.
Hope to invite you in the coming days.
Actually, hapit naman ta mo retire. Dili naman yung ko mo retire. Diharata sa Tolon, nabuhat ko ng swimming pool. Ma-invite ko ninyo, ito na dito program.
Okay.
Librohon ta mo.
Puhon, malingin ho.
Nainig ka man, maligo swimming pool. Ngayon, ato matulog, ato mukaon, libre tanan. Pero kausala po sa katuig.
Oh, pero karong anniversary sa Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Kano sana?
October, last
Auto
Sunday of
pwede na
October.
dito. August 8 ang opening.
Ah, okay.
Pohon, officially I'll invite you.
Okay.
Ang Kapihan.
Oh.
Actually, don't worry so long as you are quick in sending us, me and Chris. There.
Pero, regards laming Manny Pacquiao.
Oh! Pohon, masing makasuroy na hindi.
Sige,
Gusto niya din.
dalawa niya sa Kapihan.
Nag-fail lang siya to akong birthday kay grabe po ang bagyo. Diri na yung helicopter, kabantay mo?
Oo.
Diri na, ito panahon na.
Dito may ana.
Dito mo, okay? So anyway, sa sunod po, no?
Ato
So
sa
salamat.
dis Kapihan sa Dipolog, si Senator
Pohon.
Manny Pacquiao. Yes.
Di, connect ka na ako sa iyang media
Sige.
affairs, official
Kay
dito.
Taga Bisaya gud ta, taga Mindanao.
Oo.
Ito ang ikuan na
Si Pacquiao karon ng imong bisita, di ka magproblema kay manok kaya boy, bisayang manok boy kano. Ang iyang pan, dili po to mga pan di Manila, dili.
Pandesal.
Nang gahi kayo nga, bro, kumo.
bandilibro.
Sa amo, pan Ramona na sa una.
Ha?
Wala ya.
Oh.
Gahi kayo, wala yung gusto, dili siya nang humok.
Makabutol.
Kaya makumuton. Wa may sud. Ana, kaya katong dagko kayo, gahi kayo kuan pan. So,
Okay.
ibig ko to sabot, Bisaya, gigapon.
Okay.
Fire. So, salamat ha, partner.
Partner daw.
Salamat.
Okay. Sige.
Sir.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for coming and hope to see you soon. Dili sa
Oh,
Kapihan.
anytime,
Yung
basta-
kami mo si Senator Manny Pacquiao.
Of course, atong imbitaron,
Lagi,
diyon,
lagi.
amot diri. Ha?
Especially
Okay.
karong anniversary sa Kapihan.
October, no?
Yes, October. Last
prepare-
Sunday of October.
prepare tag
40
letter.
years ang Kapihan. 10 years
Oo.
ako. 30 years nilang Edgar.
Sabi na ako, 40 years na nimo.
Lili, uy! 10 years na rin ako.
Pag-compute, ha na.
Tiguan na.
Senior citizen.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
salamat,
so much.
salamat.
God bless you.
Partner,
No?
salamat.
Attorney Orlando Salatandre. Salamat kayo sa imong panahon, nga imong gigahin diri sa amua sa Kapihan sa Dipolog, and hope to see you soon. And we will mo discuss ra tag hapon diri sa mga butang nga dunay kalambigitan ang atong katilingban. Kay kabalor ba ko ini nga si Senator Manny Pacquiao, ha? Promise. Sure. Okay, thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Okay. Edgar, dayon tubagon tanan ni Atty Chris Palpagan. Kini karon, sige.
Okay, dugan na
ikaw ay
pasalamatan
nabili.
una.
Winner takes it all.
Di pa tubagon tanan ni Atty Chris Palpagan ng mga nakongol. Tautana, dugang pasalamatan na to. Ganit paliwas ng paniguban sa manon Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Jet, diri-
No, ang
diri ka,
PPX
Jet.
Pension House,
Diri
ang
ka, Jet.
PPX Lodge, ang nahimutan sa Katipunan Street ni Atty
Diri ka,
Dakbayan sa
kay
Dipolog.
Dabaluhan ka pang
PPX Pension House. Ang GP Marketing, Highway Binawag ni Atty Dakbayan sa Dipolog, alas pagkinahanglan sa mga construction needs. Ang DG Coco Lumber and Construction Supply na kinidya sa Capitol Avenue ni Atty Dakbayan. Magkiktayo lamang si Tuto Mamon sa PG Construction Supply and Coco Lumber. Ang Contender Enterprises ana sa nakadaiya o di kalidad ng mga coconut lumber gitason o gidakon nakakita nan sa Contender Enterprises na adya si Lynette Bastasa. Diferensya kita sa maayo nga kabuto ni kanhi Second District Congressman Attorney Rosalier Matoy Barinaga, kanhi din sa College of Law, kanhi Yusik sa NAPSI o nahimong OIC Secretary sa NAPSI. Si Atty. Rosalier Matoy Barinaga, panelist sa Kapihan sa Dipolog. Gloria di Dapitan, you dine, you eat, you enjoy with the whole family. Kada ang Thea Mall, Thea Twin Cinema, Thea Hypermart, MI Department Store, uguban pang amenities and services na malingaw sa tibok pamilya mga bisita kung nakasdakbayan sa Dapitan. Sunod sa Gloria di Dapitan, ang Fantasy Land. Fantasy Land. Ang world-class theme park, adunay amazing fireworks display matag weekend, kauban na ang parade of colors o ang nindot ka mga rides, mga bago mga rides sulod sa Fantasy Land. O ganita ka og ambience and food that goes together, ang inatuulang restaurant dito na sa Dapitan Aquamarine Park or Dampa, sa Dakbayan sa Dapitan. Bring the family, bring your friends, guests, dito na sa inatuulang restaurant sa Dapitan Aquamarine Park, Dampa, Dapitan City. Ang Gloria di Dapitan, Fantasy Land, o inatuulang restaurant sa Dampa, ipalaya ginamala ni kanhi First District Congressman Romeo Nonong Halusos. Mga itong pipila ka mga nagpaluyo sa itong panaguban sa Tulmanon Kapihan sa Dipolog, inyong mapati live sa mga sibyanan sa RMN Dipolog, DXDR 981, 94.1 IFM. Og live kini nanuka dinhi na sa Hotel Camila 1, Dalan General Luna, ning atong dakbayan sa Dipolog. Balik kita ni Edith alang nas pagpadayon sa paniguban sa Tulwanon Kapihan sa Dipolog. Edith?
Thank you so much, Edgar. Sa atong nagbaga nga issue o sa ato ang kinakusgan karon nga nangabilin nga mga resource speakers, no? Mag-Quo Warranto ta kay dito man sunod sa Quo Warranto ang gag order. So, ato ta sa Quo Warranto ni Atty Cresencio Palpagan. Sir, unsa ang Quo Warranto?
Quo Warranto, gag order taon na.
Gag order.
Ano ito yung mga pangutana sa gag order?
Sige,
Luoy
gag
po to
order
ng
ta.
utana.
Sige, gag
Okay.
order ta una. Okay.
Gag order, amo ni siya language sa media, no? But sa balaod, we call this injunction or temporary or restraining order to stop the doing of an act before the matter is heard. Ayaw sa kyaw-kyaw. Kaya mo paning gitimbang-timbang. Ang pang gidawat ang mga ebidensya ay sa mo kyaw-kyaw. Because ang inyong kyaw-kyaw might mislead the tribunal into rendering the most objective, the most fair decision for the parties and for all. This is the essence of a restraining order or a gag order, as we said. Now, nga naman, because the case is now filed with the Supreme Court, a Quo Warranto petition was filed by the Solicitor General's Office with the Supreme Court against ABS-CBN Corporation. It is Quo Warranto. Quo Warranto is a very generic, special civil action. A special civil action. So generic that it involves questions on authority and right. Quo Warranto. By what right? Quo Warranto. What right? All right. By what right are you staying in office as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court?
Ta si Sereno.
And then it deals with qualification requirement because that is the basis of your right to continue staying in office. So, Sereno was the first victim of Quo Warranto by Calida. But in the case of ABS-CBN Corporation, it is different. But by what right you continue to operate as a broadcasting corporation? Why? Because until this time, when the petition was filed, the franchise of ABS-CBN Corporation will last until March 30 for a 25-year franchise under Republic Act 7966. Okay. By what right? In other words, there are violations noted by the Republic of the Philippines through the Office of the Solicitor General that would somehow have already been a reason to terminate or abrogate the franchise. That is why, after the commission of these acts, which are in violation of the franchisee has no more right to discharge or to continue its existence according or as mandated in the franchise. So the action is Quo Warranto. Okay? All right. Now, we go to, before that, we go to the grounds. Or do you have some questions up to this time? Sige, you can ask questions.
Okay, Board Member Lee.
Gag order or restraining order.
All right, let me explain, bro. Gag order. All right, gag order. Now, when the petition was filed questioning the legality of the existence and the discharge of ABS-CBN Corporation, its purpose as a corporation by reason of the violation, then the public is asked to refrain from making any discussion on the merits of the controversy because it would somehow persuade or affect the objective decision of the Supreme Court. This gag order is being opposed by no less than the provision in the Constitution on free expression, right of free expression or freedom of expression. So, we will be faced with a dilemma. Which will prevail? Is it the right of expression or freedom of expression versus the gag order to stop people from talking on the merits of the controversy? Now, Kalida wants, if you have things to say on the merits of your defense or the petition, then do it before the court. Do not do it outside of the court, because it will instill chaos and anarchy. Do it in court. You are not precluded from saying anything. Do it in court. Now, freedom of expression, not all of us can go to court. And so if you are so pressing that, what is the use of our freedom in the Constitution on free expression? And not all of us can argue with the court, because the Supreme Court will just choose few lawyers to argue and limited time. So we cannot air everything that we have in mind on the matter in issue. Are we bound? Answer. Lawmakers are not bound because they are privileged. But parties are bound. Parties are bound. What about people who are non-parties? Are they bound if the Supreme Court will issue a standing order or gag order against anybody discussing the merits of ABS-CBN case, Quo Warranto? My answer is, there has to be a balancing act. A balancing act that the gag order should not be in a way suppressing the freedom of expression, and it will not also be in a way that the freedom will be abused in order to defeat the purpose of the law.
Is this gag order granted na?
Not yet.
Not yet pa?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's still to be determined by the Supreme Court. And ABS-CBN was ordered to file its comment within 10 days from notice.
Okay, mahuman si Kuan ako yung mga tulo ka questions lang, no?
Yeah, okay. Gamay lang Attorney Chris. Meaning to say, karon naglipa na karon social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter accounts, no, nga bahin ani ang controversy sa ABS-CBN Quo Warranto Gag Order. And they have many comments na mga bashers, na mga trolls for or against ani ang both parties, meaning the ABS-CBN and the Duterte administration, especially Kalida. So, na-bash na pa kayo sa social media, both sides, dagang kayo, trending sa katanan, viral. Unsa may lambigitan ani, unsay tulubagon ini sa balaod, in the case, aning gag order nga naakaron sa Supreme Court, nga wa pa may decision.
Very good. Before the gag order, everybody is free to speak.
Okay.
Because we still enjoy the freedom. But if there is already a gag order with certain parameters, you cannot cross the parameters. You cannot say the freedom of expression is supreme or superior over the gag order. Because after all, it is the court that decides whether you have committed a violation or not. It's not for other parties to decide. It's not for the lawmakers. It's not for Malacanang to say, no, I cannot be prosecuted because my freedom of expression is prevailing over the gag order. No, still, everybody will go to the courts. And it is the court that is the final arbiter, no matter what your opinion is. If the court says you have violated, you are cited in contempt of the Supreme Court. That is under the common law principle we call in our media practice as sub judice.
Yes.
So, ang gag order hangtod karon wa pa gani
Wala pa decision
decision.
sa Supreme Court. Kay
Assuming mag-decide ang court whether pabor o dili, moadto sila sa Quo Warranto na pudayon. It will take time.
It
Ito
will,
ka ang prangkisa sa ABS-CBN mo expire sa March 11. March 11.
March 30, March 30.
March 30.
March 30.
Assuming this ka decide ang court, natural death ang Quo Warranto o kuan.
No, it's different because
Kay kuan man.
a gag order,
Prangkisa man ang ilang gi-question ni Kalida.
Kaya man ang Quo Warranto.
okay.
So pag-expire sa prangkisa, wala na. Buta na academic
Buta
na.
academic na.
Usa pa may itong isgutan na. Nawa naman ang prangkisa. Usa pa may isgutan na to, di ba?
I cannot...
Whether ang Congress mo grant o prangkisa o dili, ang Quo Warranto ni Kalida is based on the existing franchise sa ABS-CBN, di ba? So pag-abot sa expiration, whether may action ang korte o wala na, academic na. Wala na. So pa may hisgutan na ito nga, wala naman ang prangkisa. Di ba?
You mean the petition will be dismissed?
Wala na.
Because it
Dili
has
academic.
become not an academic.
Oo.
Dili, bro.
Mo ba?
No, dili. Because the petition, for me as a lawyer, survived.
Okay. Sa ito ba?
Yes. ABS-CBN can no longer operate because the 25-year term is not subject to any condition, provisional authority, or extension. It's 25 years and nothing.
Assuming i-renew na sa, not necessarily renew, tagaan o prangkisa ang ABS-CBN. Another franchise.
If ABS-CBN is given another franchise, it's a separate law. It is a separate Republic Act.
No? Republic
Yes.
Act.
Because that law will die until the end of the franchise. So it will be in another law. All right. I addressed the question about what if the March 30 deadline for the franchise of ABS-CBN will arrive. What will happen to the case? Will the case be dismissed for being not an academic? Or will the Supreme Court continue with determining the merits of the case? My position is yes. Remember, even in election cases,
Yes, sir.
the term of office had already expired, the office that is contested. But the Supreme Court will still continue to rule on the matter in the future in order to give lessons to every one of us that this is the rule of law for
Jurisprudence na
this
siya.
particular controversy. Now, let me cite an example. There are tax effects on certain activities, business activities of ABS-CBN that are in the gray area whether it is valid or not valid. And so if it is not valid, then most likely they will not be paying the corresponding tax. There will be tax assessments on it. So the Supreme Court has to rule whether this activity is valid or not valid.
Okay.
So that there will be other legal consequences that will follow suit. Remember, Supreme Court is not encompassing. It will only say the rule of law. It will only say this and that. Now, if the Supreme Court says that ABS-CBN has violated the Franchise Republic Act 7966, then it will pull the trigger for the Securities and Exchange Commission to disenfranchise the ABS-CBN Corporation and the subsidiary company which is ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated and all other effects with the SEC. There are sanctions with that regulatory body. And the BIR will also having the duty of making an assessment because the business is retired already. So the BIR will investigate everything to determine whether all tax liabilities are duly paid and if they are eligible for retirement of business. Because business retirement is not as simple as saying, BIR, I stop my business. No.
Unless mo file og bankruptcy.
Well, there has to be another problem. So if you retire from business because you have no more franchise, you have no right to operate anymore. Like franchise has already expired.
So sa pamulong pa na
Then the BIR will come into the picture and make an assessment or investigation and give you a clearance if you have paid all tax assessment. If not, you stop your business, but there is an open case.
There are
with the
many ways of
BIR.
killing a chicken.
And other related matters affecting regulatory agencies. Okay, then, go ahead.
Atong klarohon. The question on Quo Warranto o kanang gag order filed by Kalida in the Supreme Court refers to the operation franchise of ABS-CBN, especially ang mainstream niya nga TV network. It doesn't affect naman sila mga social media platforms, KBO, kanila mga pay-per-view, iskutan ganina.
Okay.
Does it affect everything within the franchise and permit incorporated within the ABS-CBN business?
Okay. gag order is an ancillary remedy. Meaning, it is a support remedy so that the main remedy, the main case, can proceed smoothly. You have the petition for Quo Warranto. Both parties are arguing. The Supreme Court now is faced with carefully accepting the evidence and analyzing each and every facts of the case and the law on the matter. So the Supreme Court does not want to be disturbed by these chaotic activities of people arguing left and right.
Sensationalism.
So this is what Kalida wants, because the government is disadvantaged versus a broadcasting giant, ABS-CBN. If you allow that, then ABS-CBN can mold the opinion of the public according to its case, its defense. And it is very dangerous if the public now, in anarchy, will move against the government for that issue. That is a dangerous tendency that the state wants to prevent. So, stay put lang sa ay sa nagisgote. So, who are subject of this gag order? The parties. No other. The parties. Who are the parties? ABS-CBN and the government. Why ABS-CBN? They are using their facilities. Whether it is their mobile services, whether it is their convergence TV Plus, or the broadcast of ABS-CBN Corporation. Whether in radio, whether in TV, whether in social media, or whether in digital infrastructure or platforms. The mobile, they can broadcast in the mobile. So, all these peripherals of ABS-CBN will be restrained, while the case is still determined by the Supreme Court, because it will pose a dangerous tendency on compromising the justice situation. Now, ABS-CBN is not the only one. We have GMA. We have other media giants, GMA, Rappler, and so on. They also have their violations, which we will discuss at the proper time after this.
Swapin lang na problema.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
perhaps. No, but Rappler was also prosecuted.
Actually,
Rappler.
yeah, GMA, Rappler, etc. Swapin lang ang ABS-CBN.
No.
Doon ay grudge ang presidente against nila. Okay,
So,
basic man sa Pilipino na to, kita, ang kontra ni Edith, daga makita na kung dautan niya. Ha? Upabor ko ni Jett, bako usara gamay rin makita na kung dautan niya. That's more possibly na po interpretation sa uban. Depending asa ka nga pinsa, di ba?
What we call it human prejudice.
Oo, inana na to. Mula karon, doon na gitawag boundary, whether sa banaw o kini gitawag og freedom of expression karon ang gisakyan karon sa mga whoever ng mga tawhana ang curtailment sa freedom of expression. Kaya wala ako ng ABS-CBN, pero sa istorya pa ni Secretary Panilo, dili man na curtailment. Kaya we are singling out a certain network. Kamasog ta ubang network amo nagipanggukod, ananay mo nagnahanay problema sa curtailment.
Yeah.
So, para na ako, kita nga mga medyo wala sa legal nga pamaagi, listen and learn and wait attitude nga to pero kita sa media po tanahon po na to atong timbangon di kay moderasyon lang putag istorya kay sa social media imong tanahon
Malagi.
ubida na maglibog na ka whether na bay tinuod ba ni or fake news ba ni tinuod ba na nga ipabor si kuan o tinuod ba ni inana na violation etc. So, yung moto ingon po ni Atty Cres nga kaning Quo Warranto, doon ay possibility nga magpadayon kung kaya na may mga violations sa labor, sa ilang mga economic enterprise nila o uban pa. Not necessarily sa existence of franchise, but other violations nga tan-awon sa Supreme Court ug tinuod ba o dili.
Okay. Tingnan ako kaganina, Torn, nga between two parties, Quo Warranto Gag Order. It's between the government represented by the Office of the Solicitor General and the ABS-CBN. Nya kay makisawsaw man, especially kanang sa gag order, ma-appeal man ang mainstream media. Does it cover? Pwede ba mag-gag order appeal ang mga local media? Panalitan kita, maghiskuta sa atong programa nga, unsa man yung gag order sa ABS-CBN, murag ma-appeal man dagway tayo ni, ana. Unsa man, will you please enlighten the local media also? Unsay atong mahimo?
For me, court will operate through jurisdiction. Court has jurisdiction over the parties, the Republic of the Philippines and ABS-CBN Corporation and its peripherals. Court has a jurisdiction over us, ordinary people. Court has a jurisdiction over the Facebook, the Twitter, the internet, and ordinary discussion. Therefore, since the court has a jurisdiction over us, the court cannot issue a gag order against us because courts operate by jurisdiction. If you are under the jurisdiction of the court, then you have to behave and you have to follow the orders of the court. In this case, only ABS-CBN and its peripherals and the Republic, on the other hand, are within the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court by the petition of Quo Warranto. So it will not involve us. Of course, it will not. If they want to involve us, then it will be a separate petition for a gag order against Kapihan sa Dipolog.
Yes, Senator.
But it is not embraced in the gag order
Yes.
of Kalida against ABS-CBN because it is very specific, particular
Yes.
against ABS-CBN only. Okay.
Okay, comment ang atong chairman sa chair na to sa kapisanan ng mga broadcaster sa Pilipinas. Do you have the fear nga pastila ma-appeal po mi ani dili ta kahisgot bahin nga kaso kay syempre mao man siya talk of town, di ba? The hottest issue of this country today. So mag-order ba ita kapilay ni sa ABS-CBN? Do you have that feeling nga para sa KBP as the chair?
No, wala naman. Actually, kasi as far as the KBP is concerned, if I may mention yung supportive ang KBP with regards to the renewal of the franchise. Kasi nga, as far as the KBP is concerned, Manila, as they have released a letter with regards, a memorandum with regards to this, that there have been 45 applications which are being renewed in 2020. 9 of them have already been approved. So the rest are still applications. And one of these applications happened to be ABS-CBN. Now, KBB says na they are supportive kasi may right naman sila at nandoon yung application nila. So far, they cannot see any problem with regards except for itong nangyari nga between the government and ABS-CBN. Pero as far as they are concerned, tuloy lang kasi they have met the requirements and kung ano man yung problema nila with the government with regards to the other matters, hindi na yun hawak ng wala na yun sa jurisdiction ng KBP. Kung meron silang problem with BIR, then let BIR settle that thing or mag-bring up ng whatever it is that they have to. Pero as far as yung pag-apply nila sa application sa renewal ng franchise, KBP does not have any problem with
It's
that.
simply accreditation.
Oh, accept lang. Just like parang tuloy lang yan. Tuloy, hindi nila i-curtail or hindi nila i-limit or hindi nila isa-sanction na, kasi meron kang, may problema ka with the government, so i-hold muna kita. Walang ganun. And it's separate.
Okay. May question addressed to you earlier, akong basahan balik before ta mabalik ni Atty Cresencio Palpagan. Kung naay nagtagaw-taw nga dili mao, din dili po siya member sa KBP, who and how will the regulation be? Naay body ba kuno nga mo like sa mga writers, bloggers, what is the role ano sa NTC regarding media ethics?
Writers, bloggers, medyo hindi natin sakop yan. Same with print media, hindi yan covered ng KBP. So it's covered by another organization, like I think sa press yan, Now, when it comes to the question exactly is
about non-accredited member.
There has been a very outstanding case before with regards to non-accredited personnel na actually kasi ang naka-state sa KBP code is that you have to be accredited. No, everyone has to be accredited. Whatever kind of program, hindi lang basta news ka or DJ ka or komentarista ka, then accredited ka. everyone who goes in front of the mic has to be accredited by the KBP. Bakit? Bakit kailangan maging ganun? Hindi ba masyadong para bang rigid yung It means that you understand the code of ethics. Alam mo kung hanggang saan ka, you know the terminology na gagamitin, what are the conduct, yung proper quorum din na how you would be able to express kung ano yung opinion without violating any moral or civil code na pina-follow natin, So, if hindi ka accredited, medyo may sanction yan. May problema kasi dyan. Citing a case before, on a particular, dito sa atin locally, hindi ko na lang i-mention yung specifics, but there was a radio station or an media organization na nagkaroon siya ng unaccredited person who went on board. Now, the unaccredited person used freely kung ano yung nasa sa loob niya, to the point na talagang there was an entire violation of everything. He was attacking a certain person. So, libelous na kagad, number one. Libelous na yung naging kaso niya. Now, yung na-offend na tao, I think he filed a libel case, if I'm not mistaken. Pero ang pinakamabigat na, finocus niya, is when he found out that the person who did is not an accredited person or is not an accredited KBP member. So, dun pa lang, nag-file na siya ng kaso. Yun ang inuna niya. I'm not, hindi ako sure kung ano nangyari doon sa libel thing, pero ang naging focus kasi is yung being unaccredited ng tao, yung membership niya. They found out na he was not an accredited person. He's not an accredited member. He's not an accredited person or member of the KBP. Nag-file ng case ngayon sa Manila. Obviously, talagang wala siyang accreditation. So, ang bilis ng sanction doon, pinuntahan kagad dito and ruled in favor of the person who filed the complaint. Anong kaso? Unaccredited ka. As far as the KBP is concerned, hindi ka accredited. Eto ngayon ang sanction mo. And that happened. Nagkaroon ng penalty, nagkaroon ng fines, and ang mabigat kasi dito, hindi lang yung person concerned ang mafa-fine dyan, kundi pati yung station manager, pati yung radio station na local. Ang mahirap dyan, if it is connected with a network, just like RMN, pati RMN na pati Manila, tatamaan dyan. So, because of the mistake of one person, being an unaccredited member of the KBP, lahat damay. Babagsak lahat yan. Depende sa gravity ng offense. So, depende rin kung magkano yung impose na fine sa kanya. It could be parang whatever, kung ano man yung sasabihin. Pero everything would be affected because of the single mistake of unaccredited broadcaster or media personality.
Okay, thank you so much. Sige, kayo mo balik.
Bayan sa accreditation na 5-10 minutes. Kay sa una, 1980s, di lang pa hambog ako may original nga presidente sa Broadcasters Association, itong Samba sa una.
Samba na to.
Daghan kayo itong accredited. Pero wala na mag-renew. Do they have to take another examination or renew lang, mabayad, o mga penalties, whatever?
The nice part about being unaccredited, na pag-accredited ka na, and it happened nung dumating na ako dito kasi nga we were trying to revolutionize quote-unquote yung media industry kasi napaka-active at saka napaka-lakas talaga. Kumbaga, ang sikat dito sa Dipolog, hindi yung artista news, yung celebrity news. Ang celebrity dito is politics. Yung ba ganun ba? Yun ang Kaya, dapat bigyan natin ng attention yung mga nagbo-broadcast dyan. And then, little by little, in a span of just a little, less than 10 years, talagang lahat naging accredited. Even yung mga simpleng religious programs. Kasi sabi nila, religious to, hindi na kailangan. Hindi, actually, mabigat ang religious programs. Mabigat ang religious programs pagdating sa ganyan. They have to be accredited also. Ngayon, nung naibigyan na natin yung information on this and then nai-campaign natin with all the radio stations dito sa Dipolog, lahat nag-apply. Ngayon, kapag ka nag-apply ka na, kailangan ba matagal na? Kailangan ba mag-renew ka pa? Like, kailan ka, sir? 80s. Nung dumating ako 1998, maybe a year after that, kinampaign namin yung lahat ng mga hindi active. Natakot sila sa penalties. Kasi pagka inano mo yung penalties nga, aabot ng 1,000. abay, teka muna, kung practical lang. Kung ako magre-renew at babayaran ko yung penalties ko, aabutin ng 1,000, magkano naman kung kukuha lang ako ng exam? Ito lang, wala pa 1,000. Di kukuha na lang ulit ako ng exam. Ganun. Kuha na lang ulit ako ng exam. Di mangyayari dyan, mag-apply ka na naman. Which hindi naman mahirap, Pero that kind of nasayang, i-renew na lang. So, sinet ngayon yung renewal kung hanggang saan lang. Para nang sa ganun, hindi ka na kailangan mag-apply pa ulit. Ma-afford mo naman yun, And kahit na matagal, kaya nga nung dumating ako, there have been broadcasters, people na nasa media na 30 years nang hindi nakapag-renew. Like Praxi Rubio was one, Bebs Cheng, yung mga... Kayo, sir. Ang dami mga 30 years nang hindi na nakapag-renew. Paano to? Ganito yan, ganito. Mag-a-apply na naman ako, mag-exam na. So, question, kailangan pa bang mag-exam? Hindi na. As long as, lalo na kung tatanungin ka lang naman, dati ka bang nawala na yung ID? Yung ganyan ba? Pero KBP ako Kailan ka nag-take? Ganito yan. Sige, alamin na lang natin sa Manila. Yun, tatanungin na lang sa Manila. If hindi siya nawawala. Kasi we were able to trace mga 30 years na
Meron mga old IDs.
Yung mga certificate.
Mga certificate wala,
Certificate
pero
of accreditation.
Meron, dati may ako rin nakatanggap ako ng certificate of accreditation before.
If I'm not mistaken, is Islita.
Slita pa.
Oo, siya ang chairman.
See? So, it wouldn't matter if you have taken the exam 30 years ago, 40 years ago, nandun yung records. They would tell you, unless sasabihin na lang ng Manila, ay, si Ronilio Lee, wala siyang record dito. Hindi, meron ako diyan Mag-exam ka na lang, mas maigi pa. It would not be very expensive naman Parang ang maganda pa nga nun, meron kang may bago kang record. And it doesn't nullify anything na basta naging member ka. Member ka na
The certificate can suffice for the renewal.
Yes, I believe so. Kasi kumbaga, nawala yung records. But I have the certificate. I-present natin. Teka muna, ito pala yung date ng niya. Ito siya. He has been...
diploma.
Kasi yung ngayon, hindi na sila tumatanggap ng certificate. Ikaw, meron ka, di ba? Ako, meron ako. Inago ko pa rin. Just in case. Tayo, meron pa talagang para siyang diploma.
Parang diploma.
So, kasi yung mga ID nawawala yan talaga. We have PBB members na bago lang, nangawala yung ID. Bakit? Nawala yung wallet. Na-misplace yung wallet. That happens. Or nasira, hindi na mabasa yung So, anong record? Kailangan mag-expire. Hindi na malan. But if you have the certificate, mas madali.
Correct.
Kasi noon, pag hindi ka accredited, basta may kasama kang accredited.
That is okay.
You can broadcast.
You can broadcast. We make that a rule. Wala namang problema doon. Kaya halimbawa, napakarami. Tapos, we have a religious program before. Dalawa sila. Pareho silang hindi accredited. Gustong pumasok, pero sabi ko, hindi pwede kasi at least you have one person na accredited, na kasama mo, then go, walang problema.
Okay.
Meron kong tanong.
Yes, balik tayo nga.
Okay, meron kong tanong kay manager. Kasi nangyari during the time of the late Auntie Sally, pag hindi ka accredited, lalo na broadcaster ka, may kasama kang accredited, yung hindi accredited, kailangan mag-secure muna ng temporary accreditation from the local KBP. Nag-i-issue si Auntie Sally noon Temporary accreditation, good for 5 months yata, renewable after 5 months. Local temporary accreditation ng mga black timer na nagpo-program. Yun ang gawa noon, pero naputol yun, hanggang Auntie Sally lang yun. At saka, doon sa renewal, I attended the KBP Davao noon when I was a standard program officer. Wala namang yung may tanong ganun yung renewal. Sabi niya that the membership is lasting. It's a matter of choice kung mag-take ka ulit or you will pay the penalty. Meron namang condonation, di ba? Na mayroong condonation.
The condonation actually is yun na nga Parang if halimbawang 20 years siyang hindi nag-renew, 30 years ka hindi nag-renew, 10 years ako hindi nag-renew, pare-pareho tayo pwede. Parang eto na lang ang babayaran nyo. Yan, eto na lang ang babayaran.
So hindi yearly yung penalty?
Hindi na yearly. Kasi like
yan.
20 years, sabihin natin kasi the penalty is 5 pesos per month.
Per month.
Per month. So sa 12 pesos, that's
Pero may
60
package
pesos.
na, may package.
Diba? 60 pesos na kagad. Sa 2 years, that's 120.
Adjust lang ha, kay we're running out of time. Kanauban nga mga personal
sorry.
question ninyo. Pwede na ninyo sa later na lang sa after the program ha. Kay di na to matide up ang atong programa nga itong mga kuan. Okay. Kay na apoy mga text messages nga importante po. Ma'am, ipas na lang question sa inyo bisita kanang Tagalog. Tagalog. How about black timers? Mao ba iyang purpose? Ilabi na nga komentary ang program. Iya bang i-sanction for closing?
Sanction for closing. Wala tayong rule with regards to closing any program pagdating sa ganyan kasi that's curtailment of freedom and media
Gag
freedom.
order na.
Gag order na yan. Wala tayong right na isara yan bigla. Yung ganun ba? Because of any violation na ano. Unless it pertains to national security. That's one. And most importantly, yan lang naman talagang national security or inciting to rebellion, inciting to sedition. Automatic pwedeng putulin yan. Tanggalin ka agad yan. Kasi nga, ang matters of national security, we are so critical pagdating sa ganyan. I think that cannot be contested. Pero kung halimbawa yung mga normal na politiko laban sa politiko, yung mga komentaryo na or even religious commentaries and all that, wala. Medyo, yung mga ganyan, kinakausap na lang muna. And then, kapag nagkaroon na ng problema, and then we would ask them to file a complaint and then send it to Manila. Manila will act on it. Hindi yung tayo kagad ang gagawa ng action dyan kasi magiging bias eh. We let Manila decide with regards to those things. And ganun yung nangyari before.
Okay, thanks so much. Balik sa Atty Cresencio Palpagan kay na nakaungong diri nga pangutana gikan sa ato ang kauban nato sa media, murag law graduate ni siya, juris doctor at that. Mo ni siya isiging kuan ganina, di lang ako mention name kay nakoy kuan. Legal tactics such as quo warranto are just tools, instrument subayo nato ang opposing parties, Lopez's and company versus President Digong Duterte. Pwede mo punit og bisan unsang rason legalities aron matuok ang Lopez's og ilang mga negosyo. Comment. John?
Kuan man na, that is a personal opinion.
Okay.
But I think I can answer it by legal presentation. There are 3 grounds interposed in a quo warranto petition by the state because the OST is the lawyer of the Republic of the Philippines. All right. First ground, it violates Section 3 of Republic Act 7966. By the way, Republic Act 7966 is the franchise of ABS-CBN. Under Section 6, the term is 25 years, and it was approved on March 30, 1995. Therefore, 25 years will start to run from March 30, 1995. It will be March 30, 2020. All right. Now, it violates Section 1 when ABS-CBN used KBO channel for its pay-per-view business without prior permit from the National Telecommunications Commission. Okay, let me explain. Now, under the franchise 7966, Section 3 says, prior approval of the National Telecommunications Commission, the grantee, ABS-CBN Corporation, shall secure from the National Telecommunications Commission the appropriate permits and licenses for its station and shall not use any frequency in the television or radio spectrum without having been authorized by the Commission. The Commission, however, shall not unreasonably withhold or delay the grant of any of such authority. In other words, Republic Act 7966 is not a blanket authority. Every use of the facility must be approved first by the NTC. All right, let me discuss this violation. KBO channel. KBO channel is the facility of a pay-per-view. All right. So what is this? ABS-CBN Corporation launched a product It is ABS-CBN TV Plus. It is the product. And the TV Plus is a digital facility using a Japanese technology. It's an innovation from the former analog television broadcast. Now it's digital. All right. In this digital facility, there is such a thing as pay-per-view. We call it PPV. And there are 5 channels, one of which is the KBO, where pay-per-view is being used. In other words, you pay if you want to view. There are movies. Okay. Now, Kalida says that using the pay-per-view of KBO channel requires prior NTC approval. But ABS-CBN first used it during the Pacquiao-Mayweather boxing bout in Las Vegas. And they asked the consent of NTC that with the proximity of time that we will release, we will have a show by pay-per-view on the Pacquiao-Mayweather bout, give us the authority. And this is, no, we cannot give you authority because we need to have a guideline. There was no guidelines set for that. We call it the CAS, the Conditional Access System, where this broadcast media, ABS-CBN Corporation, will use the CAS in order to facilitate KBO channel of the pay-per-view. What is lamentable is this facility is free on air. Meaning,
Free on air niya, pay-per-view malagi.
wait, it is free on air. And the contents thereof has to be qualified or sanitized first by the NTC. Because you cannot just have free access to it. It is subject to regulation, especially on its contents. And it is free. But ABS-CBN is using this free on air frequency or channel for money making. Because for all you know, you have to pay. As the name implies, pay-per-view. This is the violation that the Republic of the Philippines is questioning ABS-CBN in a Quo Warranto petition. The public should be educated enough. When it is free, given by the government, it has to be free. But when it is free by the government, without prior permit from regulators, and you sell it to the public for money or profit, you just give me your own conclusion. I just leave it to you. That is the first reason. So, it's up for you to determine whether that is a valid or substantive reason or not a reason at all. Because it is not a mere instrument. It's really a reason for me. The second violation is a violation of the fundamental law of the land. It is no less than a constitutional violation. Section 11, Article 16 of the Philippine Constitution, when media industry ownership shall only be limited to Filipino citizens. All Filipino. Now, how was this done? Okay, this is the presentation of the Republic of the Philippines. ABS-CBN Corporation is franchised as a corporation. There is no substitute. There is no statement that ABS-CBN as a franchisee can operate through another agent or substitute. It's the grantee ABS-CBN Corporation. Now, what happened? ABS-CBN Corporation organized another corporation. They call it ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated. ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated is a layered corporate entity which is existing, registered by the Securities and Exchange Commission, separate from ABS-CBN Corporation. So there are two entities now of ABS-CBN. The ABS-CBN Corporation and the ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated. This ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated purchased the assets of the defunct Bayantel. It's Bayan Telecommunications. It went bankrupt and the assets were purchased by ABS-CBN. And the debts, the standing obligation of Bayantel was paid by Globe Mobile, Globe Telecom. It would appear now that Bayantel is owned the assets and of course a part of the equity because Globe Telecom paid it also is owned by Globe Telecom and ABS-CBN Convergence Corporation. You might be asking why ABS-CBN Convergence, not ABS-CBN Corporation? Perhaps the primary purpose of ABS-CBN Corporation may not be fitting to run a mobile company, mobile service, because it is a new one. All right. So ABS-CBN organized a subsidiary, ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated, and joined with Globe Telecom. That's why they launched a mobile product. They call it ABS-CBN Mobile. Now, ABS-CBN Mobile is also broadcasting events and products of ABS-CBN Corporation when it is not a franchisee under Republic Act 7966. And there is no franchise for ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated. And so the state says, it is illegal because you are not covered by a franchise. And in law, we call this a corporate fiction. In corporate fiction, which is perpetrated for fraud, we pierce the bill because there is such a thing as corporate layering. Things cannot be done directly, is done indirectly. So, it is prescribed under the law that if you cannot do it directly, you cannot do it indirectly. That is a violation of Section 1. Because Section 1 is very specific that the franchise, Republic Act 7966, is only granted to ABS-CBN Corporation. And neither of its sister companies, affiliates, or subsidiaries. In this case, it's a subsidiary. Okay, so you will be the judge. I will not give my personal judgment. Third, violation, no, that's violation again of 7966. Now, I discuss the violation of the fundamental law. PDRs, Philippine Deposit Receipts. Now, what does the Constitution say? Media industry shall be fully owned by Filipinos. If it's a corporation, all shares of stocks of a media entity, Rappler, GMA, ABS-CBN, and the like, should be fully owned by Filipinos. But ABS-CBN, in venturing to other products and other platforms, needs cash. So in order to expand their operation, they have to do something in order to attract investors. And a very rich investor by millions of pesos, even billions of pesos, blacked together, purchased by a foreign entity. These guys in PDRs, Philippine Deposit Receipt. What is PDR? A PDR is an instrument that you make a down payment or you make an option, deliver the money to the corporation with the promise that the corporation will sell you the shares of stocks. And with the option on the part of the investor who owns the money to convert the money into equity shares or shares of stocks or options. Okay. Since these are instruments, it can be traded in the stock market. Since these are instruments and these are forms of investments, they will earn dividends. And because this is an investment, it can make an effect on the decision making, the policy making of the corporation. And this is foreign. The Constitution is very allergic on this because media outlets should not be run by foreigners because they should serve the interest sa atong mga Pilipino in terms of issues, politics, economics, defense and everything, it should be all Filipinos. It should not be adulterated by foreign notions or foreign cultures. That is something that we cannot allow. That is the Constitution imposes or prescribes interest by foreigners. Now, they argue, very scheming. The argument is, well, PDRs are not shares of stocks. Yes, not shares of stocks, but they are investments. For all you know, if we invest in something, we influence the business that we are investing. If we partner with somebody, we influence the decision. Your decision should be heard. This is a very substantial investment. So what the state wants is that even if it is not really a share of stock, but it is already part of the investment. Part of the investment. And therefore, it can influence somehow. Imagine, you started your infrastructure with this money. And then, the investor will inject something into your policy. You will not agree. And they will pull out. What happened to your investment? It's a plot. So we do not know the undercurrents. Ours is just to stop any attempt to compromise our Constitution. So that is the meaning of PDRs. So the Republic is interested that all media industries should be owned by Filipinos. The Republic is interested that if it is free by the state, it shall be free to the people and shall not be a basis for extra money or extra profit. So I just leave you your own conclusion.
Okay.
Those are the grounds.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Nangangamitanan kay diha kami nakasabot nami bahin sa mga nitty-gritty details, bahin aning Quo Warranto, bahin ani ang gag order ilabi na sa visiting forces agreement. So wala lagi tay panahon no. Mga ilang parting words and statements ikan sa atong mga bisita. First from Jett Opilac, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a very enlightening experience, especially with Atty Cresencio Palpagan. Kumbaga, sinasabi nga nila kapag ka mga legal matters, napakahirap intindihin ng masa.
Yes.
Pero through Atty Palpagan, naibaba yung level na parang the common person will be able to understand. And I hope yung mga viewers natin also were able to get a lot of things dito sa ating discussion. So, sa akin lang, I feel the privilege, I feel privileged to be part of the panel dito sa Kapihan sa Dipolog. Thank you so much kay Ma'am Edith and to everyone.
We will do it again soon.
Sige, yun lang. If there's anything that you wanted to know with regards to KBP things, just let us know or just let me know. Kontakin nyo lang ako or kay Ma'am Edith lang. Sige. We will be more than glad to answer.
Okay, thank you so much ang atong KBP Chair, si Jett Opilac. And thank you so much also atong parting words and statements gikan ka Atty Cresencio Palpagan, corporate lawyer, no? Top-notch lawyer.
Salamat, Ted. Salamat sa tanang nga dinhi, Jett Opilac, Board Member Lee, Wyatt, Garson, Paul, and the members of the technical staff. And sa tanang naminaw, thank you very much. I hope dahas patag panahon kay daghan pang tatang mayong istorya. Until next time, thank you very much. Good morning.
Okay, thank you so much. No, wala tayo panahon. Salamat Board Member Lee, Wyatt Akas, Paul James Hukulan, Edgar Soronda, ngadto kang Silver, tadati ko nuduyano sa to social media platform. Salamat kayo. Tax Ilumba, salamat kayo. Danilo dito sa stasyon, Sri Lang Ruji Munira, si Mr. Edgar Dagumo, atong station manager. To God be all the glory. Thank you God for the gift of life. O gunining ato kapihan sa Dipolog, ato kanunay gi-dedicate sa ato ang labaw nga makagagahom. Dayon, salamat kayo natong tanan. Jett Opilac, of course, Atty Cresencio Palpagan. Kini si Edith Pahinti mong inyong regular anchor and host sa Kapihan sa Dipolog yung kaninyo. Happy Sunday. God bless us all. Studio, take it away. Okay. Wala na po play. Ay, salamat. Picture.